Welcome to the Delta Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Coale. This is the show where we dive into the relationship between leadership and change, what it means for individuals, teams, and organizations looking to thrive. Today's a great day to be coachable, so let's jump in. Alyna, it is wonderful to see you.
Hello, you too. After you got all that out the way, technical difficulties, 2025.
That's right. We had our own version of a dynamic warm-up.
Yeah, exactly. Very important.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm thrilled to talk to you and learn from you in this conversation. You know, in the Delta, we talk about the relationship between leadership and change, what it means for individuals, teams, and organizations looking to optimize. I have 3 questions that I use to kick off the conversation. What should we talk about? Why should we talk about this now? And then what should we aim for? What does success look like in this conversation? But before we get into all of that, I want to take a second and make you heroic and share a bit about who you are for folks that know or don't know much about you. How does that sound?
Let's do it. Sounds humble. Sounds I'm honored.
Okay, so here we go. So you were born in Bangkok. Alyna is a London-based personal trainer with 7 years of experience. Her fitness journey began through martial arts during her teen years. And like any other teen, she wanted to shed the puppy fat and look good, as you say. She began incorporating bodybuilding and weightlifting into her routine and realized that feeling and being, I love that you add that, being strong, was like nothing else.
Absolutely.
Her health and fitness journey allowed her to compete in various competitions and push her body in ways she never imagined. Alyna continued her training during university, where she originally studied technical arts and special effects. And then it wasn't long before she realized that what she first thought was a hobby was actually her calling. Soon after graduation, she certified as a personal trainer to help others achieve their goals and change their lives. Being healthy and fit has enabled her to accomplish so many things she never thought possible. Outside the gym, Alyna is also a trained chef from Le Cordon Bleu in nutrition, gastronomy, and food trends. Her passion for health wouldn't be complete without her skills in the kitchen, of course. Since then, she's delved into Olympic lifting, boxing, Muay Thai, strength and conditioning, calisthenics, and yoga. I think that's how your stuff first caught my attention. I saw an Olympic lift that you had recorded on Farcaster. I'm like, is that a clean and jerk? That is a clean and jerk.
Was the first one a clean and jerk? No, I think it was just a push jerk. It was just variation of a split
push jerk.
jerk.
Okay.
Yeah, without the clean, but I have recently just posted a clean because I realized I actually hadn't posted one yet.
Maybe that's why it's on my mind. It was a compound movement.
Yeah. It was definitely Olympic lift.
Well, I want to add here, you've done some competitions to date. An incredible list here. So the strongman competition in 2024, Turf Games, that was recent. Also recent, the Turf Games intermediate mixed teams in 2024. The Athletics Pro mixed doubles in 2023.
It's actually just Athletics Pro, and I do know that these are all very the English competitions. So like you might not have heard of them, but you can look them up, and they are kind of going all over the world. But yeah, Athletics Pro. God, I trained so hard for that one.
Well, I want to finish this list, but well, let me finish the list, and then I hope you will spend some time talking about this because this is quite quite the variety here. So, Athletics Pro mixed doubles in 2023, boxing white collar fight, that one caught my attention in 2023 as well. High Rocks women's singles, Pro London 2021, Manchester 2022. Turf Games women's elite category in 2019, Muay Thai white collar fight in 2018. So you're the real deal. You're somebody who is actively training yourself while you're training other people.
I like to talk about goals and challenges and purpose. I like to push myself. I like to, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it properly.
Yeah. I can tell.
You know?
Well, you've had quite, that's quite a bio. What did I miss in that? What did I jump over? What do you want to double click on?
I think the interesting thing is I've done all the comps. I've done a variety of team ones, which, you know, anyone who's competed in any sport will know that, like, you have, like, well, there's boxing, there's the high, I'm sure, have you heard of High Rocks?
No.
It's kind of, oh, okay, I'm sure it's coming to the States now, I'm sure, but it's a kind of like a worldwide competition right now to do with running and a functional exercise in between. But you can do a double version, you can do a single version. And I think it's been really interesting doing a competition. And, you know, you talk about teamwork, right? Doing a competition with a team and then also doing it on your own. And I think it's good to do both because you really see two completely different sides of yourself. And yeah, you really just get to really experience how working with the team works, because obviously with the teamwork one, if you don't train together, if you're not the same levels, it does not work. And, you know, you get very, very frustrated. So, but equally with something like boxing, the boxing and Muay Thai, you know, you have all the support in the world with your coach is there in your corner, but, you know, in the end, it's you in the ring and no one else with apart from the other person who's really finishing the job. So that's also another amazing experience. And I think no matter what level you are, because it's only a white collar, right? You have white collar, amateur, and obviously professional. And you have to get your licenses for amateur and professional and stuff. But I think it doesn't matter what level, I'll always respect anyone who steps in the ring, because when you're tired and you're being punched, they don't stop.
There's no place to hide.
It's not like, you know, if you're doing your like weightlifting,
you can't call timeout.
Yeah, exactly. You can, like, you know, you put your weight down and you're like, oh, just let me get a breath. Or, you know, if you're doing a triathlon, you might, I don't know, for whatever reason, if you stop, I know those people don't stop, but if you stop, no one's going to punch you in the face if you stop. So that really is probably, out of all the competitions I've done there, doing a fight has been the most mentally taxing one. For sure. And remember, it's only 6 minutes of work.
Yeah. But it's 6 real minutes.
Yeah. 6 minutes of work compared to some of these. The longest is I've done is like, well, some are whole days. I have like 5 different comps in a whole day, you know? Wow. So it's like that 6 minutes. Oh man, that's the hardest one. Wow. So yeah, maybe that idea, I mean, to go over, like, I know we'll talk about purpose in a minute, but like the whole idea of teamwork is really, really important for any athlete.
Yeah. I love what you've shared so far. I think it's a Muhammad Ali quote. He talked about one of my favorite leadership ideas. Everybody, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. I mean, he's great. He says some great things and did some great things. Yeah.
Yes. And I think this is...
me.
Go ahead.
No. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. No. What was the quote?
I think this is him, but folks will fact check me on this, that everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Oh, that's Mike Tyson, wasn't it?
That's Mike Tyson. Okay. More recent.
I'm pretty sure that was Mike Tyson. Yeah, everyone has a plan, they're punched in the face. Very true.
So so you found that to be true in life, especially when you enter the ring.
Yeah. If you're with an opponent who is of like the right level of you, because, you know, with white collar. So do you know what I mean by doing like a white collar?
I have
fight?
No idea.
Yeah. Okay. So the white collar fight is a lot. So I think they do this in the States, but there'll be boxing gyms that go, okay, we actually just want to arrange a fight where we train anyone up. So, you know, you could literally be someone who works in the office. They started boxing a week ago and they want to try do a fight. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend it, but in theory, they could. And what they would sign up to would be a white collar fight, because you don't need a license. So you could join. They usually have like 8-week camps, and they go, right, join this 8-week camp. Usually it's for charity. Sometimes it's not for charity. Sometimes it's just a promoter who's trying to sell some tables. So it will be in some like ring or whatever. And they go, okay, well, with that, please sell tickets, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of pressure on that as well. But obviously, if you're good, people want to come watch you. And if usually your friends want to come watch you fight because it's just like something they probably have never seen before. And like their friends like fight if they're not professional fighters. So yeah, with a white collar fight, especially for women, there's not much choice. So
what do you mean?
Usually, probably unsurprisingly, more men want to do these fights than women do. So the woman has to sign up, right? So annoyingly, sometimes we can't make it so you weigh exactly the same, because obviously to make it completely fair, you have to do your weigh-in and then it's equal, and then obviously you have to pair each other with the same experience. And if only 4 women sign up, and 3 of them are like heavier than one of them, well, that's it. Tough luck. Because you have to do the same like camp, right? And the fight camp isn't just for. This is how professionals do it as well. They'll go to like a really intensive. Okay, now we're doing proper fight camp now, where it's just all mental and training, and that's it. Even fighters, they like say like Mike Tyson, but also like Tyson Fury, they actually don't stay with their families. They actually go stay in some separate house that they have to be completely focused and not have any distractions, and just to be in there, because it really is a mind game, massively.
Yeah,
it's like really nuts. So yeah, with a white collar, unfortunately for I guess some of the women, you might be with someone who's quite a bit more advanced than you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty difficult. Let's dive in if you're up for it.
Yeah.
So the first question here is, with the time that you and I got, what should we talk about? What are you bringing in?
I think purpose your purpose. And obviously I will come across it as a fitness professional from a physical point of view, but your physical purpose will be related to something really important in your life, like your kids or your health or a competition that's really, really important. And I think a lot of people, they're not consistent with anything, their work or their fitness goals, because they haven't really found their true purpose of why they're doing it. So I feel like to go with the whole 2025, January 25 goal setting, I think talking about purpose might just help everyone do everything much better. Do the work, do the training.
Okay, so sense? We'll focus on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page. How are you defining that term? When you think about purpose, like what sort of words come to mind for you?
So when I think of purpose, I do think of like the meaning of life and the reason for us being here. And, everyone's going to have their own ideas, religious backgrounds, beliefs. I think if you look at all my achievements of these competitions, I mean, I know it's not everyone's idea of fun to do things like this, but all of these keep me consistent. Like having a goal every year. And I actually try to do something every year. I pick, and some years I've done 2 things, right? Like something in the beginning of the year, something at the end of the year. But I think the main thing is I'm always challenging myself and I'm always training for something. So people end up asking me, so what's next? And then every now and then I always think the same thing every time I train for something. I always go, oh, I just want to do some bodybuilding. I just want to chill out right now. Like, whenever you train for something, because you have to stick to it, right, for a certain amount of time, you can't wait for it to be done, because then you can eat anything you want or do anything you want, but then, I know me, sooner or later, I'll just go, okay, so like, what's next? Like, what else am I doing? Something I didn't actually add in that list, but I've actually done a bachata and a salsa performance before. I've actually rehearsed with someone famous. Salsa.
Yeah. So like a dance competition as well.
Not a competition, but I rehearsed with a group. and performed it.
Wow.
Like a choreographed group. Yeah, that was, I went through like a bit of a salsa phase, but I didn't want to like bring too much in. But like, it's, well, the salsa was quite an important part of my life actually, because I met one of my best friends there who I ended up living with for like 6 years. So I did meet some incredible people through salsa. And then bachata, right? The Dominican dance that I did in a group as well, just because, want to keep pushing myself and trying new things. And you just understand people more. Like when you do these things, you meet a community of people, and then you learn more about, like, you're united because you have this way of thinking. So it's definitely allowed me to meet more like different people, and again, talk about purpose, seeing their purpose. Because there are some people who they go, why are you jumping around? Like, why you're doing this and you're doing this, and they can't understand, because they think, I only want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to stick to this one thing. But I'll just get bored. Like the body is supposed to be dynamic. And I think if you can be all these things. You can be fit and strong and mobile to an extent, obviously, but you just have to actually do these things at the same time.
Mm. So far, a couple of things that have jumped out. You've talked about the importance of consistency a few times in this conversation already. You've also talked about the importance of training and competing in like there's an individual component there.
Yeah.
There's also a team component there. So let's see where this conversation goes. I want to ask you the third question here is, what should we aim for? What does success with the time that you and I have look like?
So your question is, what do I think success looks like?
What should we aim for in this conversation with the time that you and I have? So we're going to talk about purpose. We're going to talk about goals.
Yeah.
And I guess from a coaching perspective, I think a good conversation is one where something by the end is different, probably like a training session.
Yeah.
Like we're someplace different by the end of this than we were at the beginning, and we're better for it. And so that's the question with the time that you and I have today. And we get to hear your thoughts on purpose and goals, if that's what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
What should we aim for?
So looking at success, I think you have to think of so there's the end goal that I've achieved this thing, but obviously no one sees the months, the years, all the time you put in to get that little end goal. And I think you have to think, okay, you've achieved it now. Was it worth it? Like everything, maybe it was because you've learned, you've met all these different people, you've learned habits and something you'll carry on, and now you have something that you thought you wanted, right? So maybe it was. But sometimes it's maybe not, because you go, okay, I've got it now, so I can really relate this to people. All the people who come to me and they want to look a certain way. They want to lose weight. But they'll not just lose weight. They want to be a certain % body fat or lose that. So in the time to get that, they've had to say no to social events. They've had to not eat this and that. They've maybe potentially given themselves an eating disorder. They've had to really give up a lot of things. And, I think it's like looking at, okay, success isn't just the end goal always. It's what did you have to give up? Because you always have to give up something. There's always something you prioritize, right? It's about prioritizing. So, in the end, you think, okay, am I really happy with this? And this is something I actually do have to talk to a lot of my clients about, because with a similar idea of weight, a lot of people think, I want to be a certain weight. And I just think, why are you a fighter about to go for a weigh-in? That you're going to step on the scale and you have this number on your head that everyone's like looking around like some like sci-fi movie, where your like value is determined by your weight. But no, I said, I have to like challenge them and say, so what if you're maybe like a kilo heavier than you ever been, but you are the leanest and best looking you've ever looked for whatever you think is good? How would you feel? And they'll go, well, I mean, would you rather not have that? They go, yeah, I mean, of course I would, but that would really take some time to get my head around. So I think, looking at success is, are you ready to, are you happy with the journey it will take to get that as well? I think it's the journey, because in my world, it is only about the journey, really. Like that, the ending is such a small part. Well, such a small part. It's, if you think about it, actually, I think it's small compared to what you've had to do to get there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, so you've competed, you train all the time. And what I'm hearing you say is that I had a coach, you talked about training is putting hay in the barn.
Yeah.
Like those are the moments that are most important and that compound. And that when you reflect back on it, it's hardly ever like the championship or, raising your hand in the ring when you've come out on top. More often it's the feeling of accomplishment, the sense of accomplishment that comes from working that hard individually or with other people that's most meaningful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm following you. So we're going to talk about purpose and goals. And then I loved what you added there about success. Like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
And how you challenge your clients. How do those connect? Like, how does purpose and success for you, if there is any overlap, how do they connect?
It's a good question. How do they connect? I think it's just making sure that your purpose has aligned, really truly aligns with what makes you happy. And then if it makes you happy, then you're successful, I think. So, if you're working really, really hard, earning loads of money to make sure you support your kids, but then you are spending very, very little time with them physically, actually getting to know them. Obviously, like, someone needs to work, and it's, make sure they have a good education, and, you're setting them up for life is so important. But then it's also important that it's like that quality time that you're actually there with them as well. I think so. I think it's just that balance, right? Where if you think of success, and then you have to think, okay, was that the purpose of my success? Like, was the purpose that purely that they're just gonna, like, never starve, right? And go to a good school, or that's the basics, but then making maybe sure they're happy, because as we all know, sometimes the nicest thing for a kid to hear is just the dad taking an interest or the mum taking interest and being like, I'm so proud of you, or just listening to what they're into, So I think both things are important, but it's just making sure that if your kid's happiness was important, then you need to make sure that what you're doing is actually aligning, rather than your idea of what you think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so far in this conversation, you've offered a really excellent checklist. I want to go back through it. So, am I getting my brain stimulated? Am I moving? Am I aligned with my purpose? Am I happy?
Yeah.
I have a question, but I want to, as we kind of launch into the part where we talk about purpose and goals, I want to see, before I ask the question, is there a specific place that you would like to begin?
No, I think you're asking the questions, and I love my this is when my brain is being stimulated rather than physically. This is where I get to, I love talking about philosophy and theories, and so this is great for me.
Well, let me ask you this question then, Alyna. You mentioned something, I thought you gave a really great example of challenging your clients. Right? So a client comes in with, I want to work on fill in the blank. I want to lose weight. I want to be a specific size. I want to be able to bench press whatever. And part of what you're doing as you're contracting with this client is like pressure checking that, like challenging them to make sure that they're really clear on the goal that they have, because there may be some space between the thing that they say and the goal that they really have inside.
I would say like 80% of the time this is the case. Where,
Okay, tell me more.
yeah,
What's
yeah. So
happening there?
yeah, so it's funny because you have to know what to look out for, right?
Yeah,
So this is why people work with you, because they go, I want my business to be better, but I don't know what that looks like,
yeah,
right? So people do the same when they come to me and they go, I just want to be stronger, or I want to, well, I need something health, hashtag health. Like, but I
yeah.
don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. And I can easily, I look at them, they'll do some movement, and then I'll go, okay, right. Well, they don't know this, but they have a collapsed ankle on their left leg, which might make their knees knock in, which then might affect their left glute. So then left glute medius. So then that's going to give them knee pain, maybe tight hips, and then lower back pain, and then it's a kinetic chain, right? So I can just see these things like zoomed in the future, whereas they came in just thinking, oh, I just like need to look good and get a bit of muscle, because this is like just what their education is on what health is, or what it is. So they don't know what to look out for. So I'm looking out for are their legs stable? Do they have sufficient range of motion in their joints? That's standard for most people. And okay, they have that range of motion. How is that going to affect them later in life, or how would that affect them now? So, these are all the things I see. So when they come to me and they think I need this, and then really in my head I'm thinking, oh no, you need like 10 of these things. But this is the skill of being a coach. You don't tell them all these things, because I mean, could fearmonger them, I guess, but it's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
To do that. So you need to acknowledge what they want. And sometimes when people say to me, I want to be toned, really, we all know in the fitness world that doesn't really mean anything. That's not really a real thing. Being toned is like, we know what they mean, really. So it means that they just want to be leaner so they can see the muscle. But actually, to be toned, you literally just need to be leaner to just see the muscle. So really what they say is they want to lose a bit of fat and grow a bit of muscle. But in their head, they think being toned. So you kind of have to read between the lines and just kind of agree and be like, okay, yeah, we'll work on that and we'll do this, and here's a plan. And then eventually, once they get strong, once they fix all these little imbalances or these problems, or I mean, you're never going to fully fix an imbalance because life is not even. But once you put them in a completely different state, then they go, oh wow, I never knew I needed this. I never knew I could lift this much and I could move this way and feel this good by just X, Y, and Z. So I think, a lot of the time is I'll just go, did you notice that your ankle's a bit stiff? Or do you notice that this bit is sticking out, And they go, no, what does that mean? So it's just that education.
I want to follow up on this because you're talking about something that is true on my side of the screen in the coaching world, in the business coaching world. Yeah. I think of coaching as kind of three elements here. One, it's helping people think differently about something, so provoking awareness. And now I have this awareness. I'm going to shift behavior. I'm going to do something differently. Point two, and point number three, you got to do it with the person. You're not coaching at somebody. You're coaching with them.
Yeah.
And you're supporting. You're co-creating together. But you said something that I want to ask you about, because I mean, I spent certainly at least, a version of 10,000 hours in the gym growing up with my dad. My pops was a strength and conditioning coach, as I told you, for decades. And so I know walking into a gym can be an intimidating thing.
Absolutely.
And to the point where I know some people really want to get in shape, but it's, my clothes don't fit. I'm not ready to go back into the gym. I can't face that fear yet. And what I'm hearing you say is part of what is it working well with somebody is kind of checking some of their assumptions at the beginning. But I'm also hearing you talk about how I establish trust with somebody. So can you say more about how somebody begins to work with you? How do you challenge them on things without making them feel like shit? Like, gosh, I've worked through the inertia to get here, and now my trainer just thinks that, I'm lazy.
Yeah.
How do you do
Yeah.
that?
I
How do you
think,
walk that line?
yeah. So it's really, really important that as a coach, you need to listen to what they want. And talking about purpose, ask the why. So I want to lose weight. So, okay, unless they are very obviously, say, overweight where their health is affected, then you go, okay, we want to improve your health markers. Like that totally makes sense. But, sometimes people can just be a certain weight and you're not, I don't know, you're not modeling for something, you're just being, right? But I'll ask them, why do you want to do this? I mean, is this going to make you happier? Because a lot of the time they'll say, yeah, I think so. I'm like, are you sure? Because a lot of the time, if you want it enough, you'll do it. And then this is where the consistency falls off, because I can make you lift things in the gym. I can't, make you eat a certain way when, live with you, make you a certain way. Right. So it's really important to ask people the why of what they're doing things. So I'll always ask them, why is this important to you? And what is your background? So again, saying, oh, like say my parents work out, so I'm very used to it. So, they're already used to a level of habit. Yeah, when I challenge, so for instance, I sometimes do have to undo things that they say, oh, but this guy I worked with, this trainer I worked with told me this. And I'll go, okay, well, I don't know if I agree with that, because, and then I'll try to prove it in some way with like some research, some science, or say, so the whole knees over your toes, how once upon a time they were like, oh, the knees shouldn't go past your toes and all that. And then I just go, okay, so how do people in the rest of Asia and Eastern Europe eat their food or wash their clothes? I'm currently in Thailand. Anyone who's been outside of Bangkok will know that. So like there are these toilets that you can go to on the way to Hue Hin, which is like a little seaside town, and they still have squat toilets.
Yeah.
There.
And knees got to be over the toes there, I'm assuming.
Like definitely. I mean, unless you're a man, lucky you. But like, there's only one way to use that thing,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's human nature, I'm gonna get all the orthopedics message me and be like, shut up.
You can invite them to Thailand.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, I know. I mean, like, they're dealing with people who are, powerlifters who are, they're squatting unnecessarily heavy weights, like 300 kilos on their back, right? Like, no one needs to squat 300 kilos. They don't do it because it's healthy. They do it because it's their purpose. It's fun, right? Every athlete gives up some part of health. They're definitely not doing it to be healthy. They're doing it to live. And then they'll deal with the consequences later of their sport, right? So, it's more getting them to realize, so what you said with awareness, getting them to realize that just because you're in the gym, when you're in the gym, you're training, you have to train consciously. We do everything consciously and with purpose in the gym. We train consciously so you can live unconsciously. I think that's a really important thing. Like,
hang on. Give that to me one more time.
Yeah. So in the gym, everything has to be purposeful and conscious, right? We write a program, we count reps, we do tempo, we're measuring and everything. And we're also doing left and right, unilateral exercises to even us out. But the truth is, we will never live like that. If I'm going to pick a pencil up from the floor, I'm not going to do it like a Romanian deadlift or a deadlift. Like, I'm going to round my back and pick it up, and that's the thing. So in the gym, we will be very specific with how we do things. to train our body to be as ready as we can to do things unconsciously. Because I'm not thinking about, when I pick things up from the floor, when I'm cooking, I'm not thinking really robotically, how am I going to bicep curl this pan to, they link a lot. But I think, this is the point that a lot of people miss of like why training is important. My sister-in-law, she's a first-time mother. She's got a 9.5, almost 10 months old baby. She hasn't really been one to want to work out much, but she's always been naturally very lean, and which is actually one of the reasons she probably hasn't been kind of forced in her mind to do something about it. But because she hasn't trained her wrists and her forearms to take the constant strength that you need to hold a 10 kilo. He's a cutie, but he's heavy. This 10-kilo baby, for hours on end. So amazingly, I showed her some stretches to help with her wrist and her forearm, because she's had to have physio. She's in pain. And amazingly, actually, just this evening, she said to me, those stretches you showed me, it was just a 10-minute routine. She was like, you actually stopped the pain. It stopped the pain for like 2 days. I thought I was going to have surgery.
Damn.
And, I thought, well,
she was ready for surgery.
She was thinking about getting some injections, and I thought, but there's so much you can do before. Obviously, ideally, you do it before you have the baby, but late now, to train yourself. But that's the thing. God, and talking about having a child, like, my partner and I, we always, because he's a coach as well, we talk about this all the time, where like, people can't be bothered to train and do stuff in the gym, but then having a baby is suddenly like, okay. So then once they have this baby, they just get the biggest shock of their life, because then I go, right, now, how in the gym you get to have lots of sleep and train, and it's still hard. Now imagine doing with no sleep. So you're even more unconscious. So this is a point where I'm trying to say is like, you've got to put in the work consciously to just best prepare you for everything you're going to do unconsciously in the gym, because that is obviously life, like 22 more hours of the day, because you maybe spend 2 hours in the gym, right? But the 22 hours, that's the real world.
Yeah, that's the real world. I love how you've explained that, the conscious and unconscious. We're going to do something consciously so that we don't have to worry about it. I'm going back to that Mike Tyson quote. Like, you get punched in the face. There's a version of that out there all the time, I would imagine, for people. And so how can I prepare myself so that when life comes at me and things happen, I have a more solid foundation than I did before?
Yeah, absolutely. You have the endurance, the stamina, the will. You just when you've done all these tough things in the gym and you build up actual strength, like it's just something you do actually have to build up. You become more resilient. You become way more resilient, and also your pain tolerance also increases. I mean, some people naturally do have more than others, but it is actually really funny when I think about all the different. These are the times I realize I'm different to my clients, or like my friends and my coaching friends, how we're different to just other people who just don't care as much about lifting. That, like, for instance, I mean, gosh, my hands are actually disgusting right now because I've got like all these different blisters, but like,
oh yeah,
they're just, I had a blood blister, it pops, it just, and all I'll go, well, I'm not going to stop lifting, so I'm just taping it up, and I'm just like, I'm not stopping unless I'm really like, okay, that does hurt quite a bit. But, I've had a fractured finger, and I kind of, only when I was like, oh, actually that wallboard wasn't that good, I then had to stop. But otherwise I would just keep going. Sometimes it's actually quite dangerous, because then it's the other end of the scale. You have to tell yourself, okay, that's too much now, so, and then you get the other side of people who go, oh, my leg, and I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, I don't know. And then we spend like 15 minutes trying to like kind of see if there's actually something wrong with it. Like, can they push through? or
Yeah.
and it's something you have to kind of train yourself. I think that you're thinking, okay, but is there actually something wrong with it?
Yeah.
You know,
Or are they
um,
just bumping up against a barrier that they've never hit before?
yeah,
And so there's discomfort in how hard I'm pushing myself. And I haven't done this enough to know that that's not injury, it's just
yes,
strain. I want to ask you about, because I get a chance to support, you were talking about purpose and goals. And I'm fortunate to be able to support many leaders who come into coaching because they want to get better at something. They want something to be different by the end of this. Um, and it's usually related to the business, personal leadership, leading the team, leading the organization. It's typically not related to physical activity. But here's my argument, and I want to get your thoughts on this, that if you want to be a better leader, then movement should be part of your set of goals. And it could be walking around the neighborhood. It could be stretching. It could be getting the heart rate up and sweating more vigorously. But I think at a minimum, movement needs to be part of that core value set. What are your thoughts about that?
yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I'd be like, God, if I was like prime minister or like president, right? I'd be like, that's the first thing we're putting money in.
Yeah.
So
Enabling
but
people to move
yeah,
more.
but going back to what I said, those three things that you need to keep going is movement is just so important, because when you then don't, it will hit you somehow.
Mm.
Pain, sitting too long. Look, the body, we're just made to move. It's going to oxygenate your blood. It will take you away. I mean, in this world where we're just looking at screens all days, right? I mean, when you train, and this is why I think trainers have a very specific relationship with clients and coaches, right? Trainers, coaches. We see people's most primal side. There is something so vulnerable about being pushed to the limits by someone who actually you kind of just met. That you probably learn about a lot about themselves, but I learn a lot about them. I'll know if someone's tough, and I'll see like, okay, that was a really hard thing, and you've never done that, but you pushed harder than actually my other client, who maybe has been working for a lot longer than you, who's actually naturally stronger than you. And I've seen it again and again, and I think this is why they obviously, you've seen that, they know you've seen that side of them, and they sort of, they feel much closer to you because it's just like something that you go through together. So I think naturally that really relates to your work life, because if you're able to push yourself to that limit, then what's to say that you can't achieve an obstacle or something really difficult that you wanted to achieve in your work life. Is there some problem that you have to solve? You just have to just go through it. Just don't give up. It's very easy when you give up. And there's, in competitions, this might be an interesting thing to talk about, but going back to purpose, when I'm in competition, there were the same things that I think of to keep me going, because like everyone else, I have thoughts too, because it's really heavy weight I've got in front of me, and I'm really tired, but I've got to, I don't know, press it another 10 times or keep up with everyone I'm with. And I just have the same things that I think of again and again to just motivate me, because it's me and myself, right, to get me going. And one of the things that gets me going, when I'm telling myself that, why am I doing this? You're worthless. Like, you're not good enough. Quit now. Like, this is so hard. I don't have to be here. It's so hard. I think, okay, I'm super grateful that I can push myself to these limits. There are people out there without limbs who could wish they could even try doing this. So, thinking of that, how grateful I am to even push myself to these limits, that really, I think, okay, come on, no excuse. And actually there are 2 people in my gym right now who have prosthetic limbs, who train very hard. Actually, one guy, he does snatches, not a full one, but like, not like a power snatch. It's incredible. And by the way, he has half a hand and a prosthetic leg. He's incredible. And he's got agility, he does lateral jumps, and yeah, his name's Nicky. He is inspirational. So, we're
That's
on the
incredible.
same level mindset. Yeah. So those are the things that keeps me going, because you have to think, you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to think, oh, I just, this is so hard. I can't do this. So that's one thing that keeps me going, that I'm very grateful to be able to push myself to these limits, and have the money to push myself to these limits. Some people just trying to survive day to day. And then the other thing I think of, obviously my industry, if I want to show that I'm the best, like, I'm a coach, like, why should you look up to me? And I'm competing against, like, other coaches say, well, then prove it. That's what I think. That I'll go, okay, you want to be the best, prove it. Like, no one's just going to hand that to you. Show them why you're so good, if you are. So that those things, they get me going.
Yeah. Alyna, thank you for sharing that. I think that's a fantastic set, because we all encounter moments where we're tired, we're intimidated, maybe fear or anger is getting in the way, and we're beginning to question whether or not we're up for the task in front of us. And you offered, I think, 2 wonderful bits of advice there for folks listening. One, find a way to reconnect with your gratitude. What are you grateful for? Because that may unlock a new perspective, a new way of thinking about this thing. Well, at least I have the opportunity to do this, to challenge myself in this way. And that's not the case universally. And the second thing is, if I want to stand on solid ground and challenge the people that I have the fortune of supporting, then I have to be challenging myself.
Yeah.
I think that's a great, I know we're, and I know we're talking about physical gains and mental gains within the context of working out and fitness. But I think what you've just offered there is applicable for leaders more generally. And maybe even a great way to navigate change. When you're up against changing something's changing, how do you do that? You maybe reconnect with, what are you grateful for? And how do you want to show up authentically? And if part of that is, I want to challenge people around me, then I need to be willing to step into that challenge zone myself.
Yeah, exactly. And this is when people look up to you, because they'll go, oh, wow, how did you do that? How did you, So yeah, I think for leaders, I mean, it's all nice, having the theory, but when you know that someone has done it themselves, I mean, personally, I just think that's so much more inspirational. When they've done
what
it
have we not
themselves.
talked about today? Yes, what have we not talked about today that you would like to talk about? We've got some time left here.
Oh, I'm very open. Is there anything that has sprung up for you? Yeah.
Well, I would like to ask you.
You.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw a question your way, because I think I can imagine folks listening, leaders listening, thinking, it makes sense. Movement makes sense. Going back to the list that you offered at the very beginning, like intellectual stimulation, moving my body, connecting with my purpose. Am I happy? Where should they begin? Like, where would you recommend folks? Maybe they're active, maybe they're not active, but they're a leader wanting to re-engage with fitness. Where would you suggest they start?
So, as you gave me a little bit of an idea as you were asking that, a lot of people, they struggle with time, right? Everyone always said, as in they'll always say, how do you have time? I don't have time. And that whole time thing comes in. And obviously, really, it's called prioritizing, right? Right.
Yes.
So, And I'm fortunate enough to work with some very successful people in very high positions who make sure they get their workout in. And trust me, I don't think, we all have the same 24 hours in the day. And yes, he has children too. And, there is a way. Yes, absolutely. It is harder for some people than others. So I think when thinking of the first steps people can make is they might have heard this again and again, but trying to choose a more active way to do things. So working out is only your 1.5 or 2 hours, if you can get to 2 hours, say 1 hour in the whole day. You don't even need to do 1 hour every day. Okay. But say, how do I just up my health markers? Can you walk a bit more? Can you walk to work? Can you walk up the stairs? So like I do that. I actually if I take the tube, the metro, then I will walk up the escalator more than just, unless I'm really, really tired and I've had a really long day, I will actually always try to just walk up. But I know I'm lucky that I'm fit enough to do that, but I will still make myself do that, because I've trained to do that, so I think always just those little things really make a big difference to your health, just upping your step count, because we're just so sedentary these days. Seeing if you can everyone working from home these days, can you take walking meetings? I mean, do you see Jobs, as you know, is famous for his walking meetings with his team or online. So, finding a way just to be active generally. And then the second thing is find something that you're into physically, because again, if you want to be consistent, it has to be convenient and it has to be actually something that you enjoy. I mean, there are people who still don't enjoy working out, but they say that they just come because they like me. So they just go, I just like your chat. And then I'm like, okay, you really still don't enjoy, I guess I enjoy like how I feel, but I still hate everything we do here. And I'm like, okay, so the problem with that is, what if I'm not here? Like now?
Yeah.
So it's great that they found, so that's why they have a trainer, because I keep them consistent, so find some form of exercise, whether it's dancing, spin class, just something that you will enjoy. Because if you enjoy it, you will prioritize it. You will go there. This is part of my identity. I do this every week, at least once a week. And really, once a week in your life. I mean, okay, does that mean buy a Peloton bike and keep it in your house? You could buy a treadmill and keep it in your house. You can get your steps down on a treadmill. So yes, you have to make an effort. And, I do think it's okay to tell people that you have to make an effort. Like anything, it's not just going to fall into your lap. It's okay to train. I also think it's okay to tell your clients that you have to actually train hard. Like, if you want to only go to the gym 2 hours of the whole week, then make the 2 hours count. Actually push yourself in those 2 hours. It doesn't surprise me anymore that people don't think they have to work hard in the gym, but it does surprise some people. But it's true. When you go to the gym, it's not like, okay, you're suddenly in the gym and then you just, get some like magic dust that just kind of gives you like an achievement that you stepped into the gym and now you're stronger. Like, no, you actually have to now do something when you're there. So I think, I mean, the leaders that you're talking to, they'll understand this. I would say the hard work. You have to not be afraid to work hard, because nothing that's, worth having comes easy. So I think the first thing that, you can do is so the second thing you do, apart from just, making sure that you can just be as active in your day outside purposeful exercise, is to actually just change your mindset and just accept the fact that you're just going to have to make an effort and work hard, and you might not be so lazy to do other things in life then.
In all your work with people, when they do those things, have you seen examples of people that have regretted it, feel like it was a mistake? to do those things.
What, like, for instance, what things, like walk, or what do you mean?
Yeah, that list that you offered, be more active generally, find something that's convenient, do something that you enjoy, be willing to work hard, put the hay in the barn. Like,
Oh yeah,
you
no,
support people that do make those choices all the time. Have you ever seen that backfire or come out sideways, or people get to the end of it and go, Alyna, that was a waste of time?
no, never. If they even get there. No, if they've no one, yeah, no one has ever. It's like the same where people go, "Oh, I hate how strong I am." Like no one has ever said, "Oh, I hate how strong I am."
Yeah.
It feels great. What they have said, not to me in particular, but say because maybe they've trained with someone else, but it's not the coach's fault. They might have said, "Oh, I'm not sure if I like the look, the byproduct of." But then equally, I challenge them. I go, did you happen to be in a calorie surplus whilst you worked out? Like, this is how you get bigger. You have to actually eat more. And they go, okay, yeah, maybe. So it's like, well, because it's not that easy to get as big as people feel like they're getting, because muscle is not big, it's the fat right around it. As we say, it's not the weights that make you big, it's cupcakes. It's like, we need.
I've never heard that before.
That's what some of us have said. Like, because we have people say, "Oh, I don't want to get big because the classic weights will make me bulky," and we go, "No, they don't. It's cupcakes." Because if you see the classic picture of 25 pounds of fat, 25 pounds of muscle, like the difference of what same weight, which one would you prefer? Point case closed. But it takes a long time for them to see that the weight drops off when you have more muscle. It really, really does. So being more active has always benefited everyone. No, I've never. No,
Okay,
I never really thought right.
So folks are hearing it here. Being active benefits downstream the people around you. And I would ask, if this were a coaching, what's the worst that's going to happen? So you prioritize this and you dedicate yourself to working hard and being more physically. What's the worst that's going to happen? I would suspect the opposite actually unfold, that people find all sorts of benefits, mental, physical, purposeful, happiness, that stuff, all that good stuff, I think they will find. I like to ask at the end, this has been a fantastic conversation, by the way.
I've loved this.
Well, thank you. I like to ask for takeaways. What we wanted, things like what I said at the jump, a good conversation, something is different by the end. Things are definitely different on my side of the screen. I'll share my takeaway, but I want to invite you, if you have one, anything come up for you over the course of this conversation?
Well, I have enjoyed. I've always thought about this, but I've enjoyed how you phrased it of the correlation between leadership and success and the physical side of things, and how they all intertwine. And I feel very inspired. Even see, I know people. It's nice that people do say to me, "Oh, you're very motivating," but I only motivate when I'm talking to someone else. Just for some reason, I feel motivated by the person I'm talking to as well. You kind of feed off each other. And I think I sent my clients a survey, and one of the questions was, what was your biggest takeaway with training with me? And almost all of them said that I can do it, that I'm stronger than I think I am, that I can do it. Basically, I can do it full stop. And, obviously I know what they mean. Because, and I thought that was, because you never know what they're going to say. And I thought it was really, really lovely to hear that, because it's always a fact with I can't, and, I can't do it. And I go, well, how come you've just done 12 reps while saying that?
That is incredible feedback. That gives me goosebumps to hear that all these people are, you've enabled these people to be stronger and recognize that strength within themselves. What a gift.
Yeah, that's definitely that's probably the main reason I wanted to be a coach, to just tell people you can do it. Like, you're just stopping yourself. If you want it, you can. I hate the idea that people, I don't know, I've always hated the idea that people think, maybe because I've always hated the idea for myself, to think that you can't, you're not good enough, you can't. Because it's something that, when you compare yourself to a lot of people, it's something that we're going to have more and more of, especially with the social media. And I think it's very important that kids and people from a very young age know that you absolutely can. But, it will come at a cost. You've got to work hard. But, the end of the rainbow is so, so sweet. Like, you absolutely can.
That's beautiful. My takeaway, and you mentioned it, motivating. I'm going back to the part in the conversation where during the intake, when you're beginning to contract with a client and they come in and say, Alyna, I want to get better at fill in the blank. And I loved how you offered that edit there. You're like, okay, let me just move that to the side and let's really go beneath the tip of the iceberg to understand what's the why. What is motivating this individual? Because if I can understand what's motivating really deep down at the root, what's motivating for this individual, then I can be in a better position to motivate them.
Yeah.
And people may not even know themselves.
No.
Until you're challenging them. Lots to think about. This has been wonderful. Like I said, thank you so much. How can folks, I know that you exist on Warpcast or Farcaster. That's how you and I linked up.
Yes.
Where else in the world can folks find you?
So I've got a website. It's ahmindsetmovement.com. I'll send you obviously all these afterwards so you can link it somewhere. I'm also on Instagram at ahanfitness. ahanfitness, although I am thinking of changing it, but I've just had it for so long. At ahanfitness. And then obviously I've got my email, but otherwise, those are the two, probably main three with Warpcast. So with Move with Alyna on Warpcast, 3 main platforms that I'm on.
Fantastic. And do you support people remotely? If somebody is living, not in Bangkok, not in London, and they want to work with you or work out with you, how can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. So I do online coaching. So for anyone who doesn't know what that actually means, it isn't where you're on Zoom and you're doing a video with each other. I do that. That's a sort of separate service, but I do an online coaching where you have a personalized program that's delivered via an app. So you send me videos of your form and I get to analyze it. And you'll have basically I'll do a check-in weekly on my side, but then we have a proper video call like once every 3 weeks to go through any questions in detail and stuff. But it's mainly talking about consistency. It's about having the app and the program, and the program itself, it has videos. So if you can't remember what, say, the back squat looks like, you just press play and you can see the video. It will also ask you to fill in your reps and weights, so then you can measure your progress, and I can see, oh wow, you did 60 kilos for all 3 sets. Amazing. Look, last week you only did 55 or whatnot. So it's a great tool and allows me to coach from a while away. And right now I've got a few, so obviously in Bangkok I've got a few friends on there, which is awesome. I get to train them from the other side of the pond. So online coaching is another way. So just to contact me, you can just send me an email. So my email is alynahanfitness@gmail.com. But if you go to our website, you can book in a consultation call and we can actually have a chat about anything that you are thinking of achieving this year.
I love it. I usually say it's a great day to be coachable, but you've challenged me in this conversation to reframe that. I think it's a great day to be more consistent.
I feel like I really want to, we should train. We need to go to the gym now and just train. I need to fly to Chicago.
I got a bag in the garage. Maybe you can help me with I want to double up the 3. Maybe you can help me with that.
Okay. All right. We'll plan it. There you go. 2025 goals.
That's right. And hey, listen, that may not actually be my real goal. So you'll help me figure out whatever is beneath the surface.
Exactly. Oh, he thinks he wants that.
That's right. Alyna Hahn, thank you so much for your time, boss. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and look forward to speaking again.
Cheers. Thanks for tuning into the Delta Podcast. If you're ready to lead through change, stay with us. Until next time, remember, it's always a great day to be coachable.